Pressure is mounting from both sides of the same-sex marriage debate. In this latest turn, a city leader in Chicago says Chick-fil-A's president is contradicting what company executives had promised the local politician for months and months. Alderman Joe Moreno says after 10 months of negotiations, Chick-fil-A, which wants to expand in Moreno's ward in Chicago, agreed to stop making donations to anti-gay groups. But then came this statement from Dan Cathy of Chick-fil-A, quote, "There continues to be erroneous implications in the media that Chick-fil-A changed our practices and priorities in order to obtain," goes on, "permission for a new restaurant in Chicago. That is incorrect. Chick-fil-A made no such concessions, and we remain true to who we are and who we have been," end quote. Cathy also tweeted out this photo last week of the Wind Ride for the Family, reportedly a fundraiser for a group that lobbies against same-sex marriage. So, what side is Chick-fil-A on? Let's talk to Shane Windmeyer. He's the executive director of the gay rights group Campus Pride, a group that had been protesting Chick-fil-A's restaurants on college campuses with its campaign, 5 Things You Should Know About Chick-fil-A. So Shane, welcome. And here's what makes you so unique is the fact that you have actually spoken with Dan Cathy as part of your negotiations, not once, but twice. Take me behind the scenes here and tell me what that was like.
Sure. Well, thank you, Brooke, for the opportunity to be on the show today. I think it's important that people know that college campuses for over 10 years have had issues around Chick-fil-A. And so what happened in July with Dan Cathy expressing his personal views, I think incited a lot of those college campuses to action. Our organization thought it was important to not talk about Dan Cathy's views, but to really educate the consumer on 5 simple facts about Chick-fil-A, that being where their donations have gone to over the last, roughly 10 years, being about $5 million to anti-gay groups. And so we launched that campaign recently because of our 2 sit-down meetings in Atlanta with Chick-fil-A. We decided to suspend. And I say suspend, we didn't end the campaign, but we suspended the campaign. We suspended the campaign because we're hopeful, but yet cautious that those dialogues can lead to some sort of common ground.
Before we get to what that common ground looks like, what was Dan Cathy like? Just to look at face-to-face and to talk to.
Well, first of all, Dan and I have Mr. Cathy and I have spoke on the phone prior to those meetings. He reminds me of my uncle, and keep in mind I have a big family. My mom has 10 brothers and sisters, and so my uncle is an evangelical minister, and at the end of the day we don't agree on much of anything, but when I go home at Christmas he always asks me how I'm doing, how my partner, my husband Tom, is doing. We've been together 17 years, so that's a lot of Christmases together, and I know that my uncle doesn't want any harm or hurt to come to me, and I truly believe in my heart Dan Cathy cares about everyone. He is a Christian, and not all Christians believe like Dan Cathy, and that's part of finding common ground, is sitting down and putting down the picket signs to actually sit there and talk and see if we can come to some sort of understanding, and that's my goal.
Shane, I think that means a lot what you're saying, and so if you are, having talked to him twice and you have suspended your campaign, you are hopeful. What does that mean for you, for Campus Pride next? What's the next move?
Well, this is not a political game to us. I mean, what happened with the alderman in Chicago is very much all political and about politics. For Campus Pride, it's about campus safety. And we have received reports, one specific report of a campus that, 2 students called a openly gay student on campus a derogatory term while holding up a Chick-fil-A bag and saying, "We love Chick-fil-A." And so this issue is about campus safety for us and helping make sure that all campuses that have Chick-fil-A's, that the brand of Chick-fil-A doesn't become a hate symbol, and that's our concern, and that's why we're sitting down to have this dialogue and being willing to, at least for the moment, to see if we can find some common ground and to maybe find some future actions that we can both be proud of.
So 20 seconds, you have a friend, they say, "I'm not eating Chick-fil-A anymore." You say?
I say, I respect your opinion not to eat Chick-fil-A, and right now I'm not eating Chick-fil-A either, but it doesn't mean I'm not willing to sit down with the man and his company and try to find some sort of common ground.
There you go. Shane Windmeyer of Campus Pride. Shane, thank you. We'll follow up with you and see where this goes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming up next.